Hi, let us start the presentation. All right, so we got to start. So hi, this is our interim presentation and paper, of course, about Kenya from us6, you can see on the screen. So the interview we did for this presentation and paper was with Lou Dirks. He is an honorary consul in Kenya in the port of Mombasa. It was a very interesting interview on which we mainly based the human aspects of our PowerPoint.
The geographical landscape in Kenya consists out of a variety of different regions, which vary from grasslands, savannas, and also like coastal areas. The climate in Kenya is mostly warm, with like temperatures varying between the 14th and 30 degrees Celsius. In Kenya, there's also a lot of rainfall. That's why it's also like very optimal for agriculture. In Kenya, we can find a large variety of different vegetation and plant life, and also a wide variety of diverse wildlife like lions, forest elephants, barracudas in the sea.
So the political landscape. There's a rise, since the mid-90s, there's been a rise in the tribal divide in Kenya. A few moderate parties fell out, and with that, really, you saw the rise of this tribal divide, the lining up of political ideas and ideology as you would tribal and cultural aspects more than really ideology itself. In 2007, there were violent elections. Not necessarily the elections, but after the elections, it became really violent. Claimed nearly 100 lives and was internationally regarded as a really sad event, generally when there's a loss of life like that in elections. In 2017, this was set to repeat. However, after a few violent riots there, they were able to, both political parties came together and they were able to like agree, and they really stopped the pandering and the, how do you say it, like the riling up of their base. So it really settled again, and so it seems to hold for the next coming election in 2022. So that seems like it's on the upside for them. And in 2010, there were constitutional reforms, which were notable because they really focused on including women and also representation for children and disabled people in Kenya. So that was really of their government. In a sense, that's maybe more moderate, modern than some nations in Europe.
When we talk about investing in Kenya and doing business, we have to first look at the improvement that Kenya did with the ease of doing business. As you can see on the graph, Kenya has seen a really big improvement from 2010 to 2018. We also have to take into account Kenya's location. It is called also the economical hub and logistic hub from East Africa, meaning that there are a lot of foreign investors and also a lot of banks who are setting up their headquarters in Kenya. Another thing that's also very attractive for foreign investors is the workforce, because Kenya has a very young but also very educated workforce that are built as entrepreneurs. And the tax overview in Kenya, first, the taxable income in Kenya is based on the gross income of a company within that year that they have to pay tax on. The tax rates consist out of three sorts of tax rates. First, we have the 30%, which is for companies who are from Kenya originally. The 37.5% is for foreign companies who are setting headquarters in Kenya. And then the reduced 25% is for starting up companies. And they only have to pay 25% taxes in the first 5 years. Then we see the individual income tax rates. As you can see on the graph, it increases the more money you make in Kenya.
So laws and regulation, the most important things when investing in Kenya, really these preclude to. So all international protections for brands and generally companies are guaranteed. This is by deals with the World Bank, so that makes it safe to invest in Kenya. The only thing that you need to know is really about owning land, profit-oriented land, like land which are stores or something built on. That's all fine. Everybody can own that, but agricultural or land That's not only non-Kenyans can't own this, only Kenyans, or companies that are majority Kenyan owned can have like agricultural land. Socioeconomic situation of Kenya.
So an important thing to note in Kenya's socioeconomic situation is that 70% of the country's workforce is in the agricultural sector, but that it only accounts for 35% of the country's GDP, while the service sector accounts for only 35% of the workforce, but 42.7% of the country's GDP. So even though it's smaller in workforce, it's bigger in GDP share. For 2030, the country has 4 main areas of focus. One of them is manufacturing, another is universal healthcare, another is affordable housing, and another is food security.
Starting a business and the costs?
Yes, so starting a business in Kenya is actually quite an arduous task to complete. It's a very complicated process. It also depends on the type of business that you are planning to establish there. The procedures also time to complete, because in order to actually make your business legal in Kenya, you have to fill in a lot of forms and documents, and it has to be approved by like the registrar of companies, and it just takes a really long time. And also, there's a lot of cost when doing business in Kenya. For example, let's say that if you want to like legitimately register your company, between 20,000 and 35,000 Kenyan shillings. But other than that, you also have to pay for let's say the company name, and also other sorts of certifications and improvements that you will need, that do cost money. However, there's also somewhat a form of corruption that happens when doing business in Kenya, because the salary there is so low that people are unable really to make a lot of money, or that much money, in order to survive. That's why, for example, bribery is such a common thing, and in doing any form of business really in Kenya.
Religion?
When
yes.
it comes to...
No, that's you, I'm sorry.
Yes. So when it comes to religion, 97% of Kenyans follow a certain set of religion, and 82% of those people state that religion is deeply important to them. So it's quite a big part of the culture there. 80% of people who carry a certain faith are Christians, 12% are Islam, and the rest is indigenous religions.
Relations.
Well, when talking about the relations, we're going to start with a Swahili word called all put together. So Harambee, that is what that means. And it is a sort of community self-help kind of thing, like fundraising and development activities. It is also on the coat of arms of the Kenyan military, and it is the foundation of Kenyan relationships. When looking at the cross-cultural aspect, so comparing Kenya against like the Western world that we live in, there is Kenya, there's much bigger focus on the present. What is happening right now is more important. We can't control our own destiny. There are many factors in life that cannot be controlled or predicted according to them. So just live in the moment right now, see what you can do here. The application-based payment systems have a 70% utilization rate in Kenya. So that is also an interesting thing to look at. And the internet utilization rate goes from 68.2% to 97.8%. And you can see all these numbers are vastly rising, and everything compared to the cultural connection in Africa, everything is rising fast and catching up to the West. And that's very interesting to see when looking to the future. When we look at like some basic etiquette in business in Kenya specifically, people live there on a bit of a more laid-back schedule compared to the West. So like in Spain, coming late is generally accepted, but don't push it, because in business, respect is still very important. Small talk is also important. Don't start off your meetings too serious. Get to know each other a little better. A better connection between the two people doing business will lead to a better business relationship. Companies there have a more classical social hierarchy, so don't think about a flat structure. Think about top management delegating lower employees and lower management. Negotiation tactics actually are very useful there. Don't try to take a too unconventional route. Stick to the classic tactics, and you will get much farther than you would otherwise. Showing of education and experience is very important down there. So don't be afraid if you have a high degree to show that off. Diplomacy and willingness to compromise. Well, of course, like I said, respect is very important there. So make sure that you don't demand too much. Make sure you can meet each other halfway, and you'll get much further. And don't be too direct with what you say, because Africans can be, or in Kenya in the business world, can be some sort of quickly offended. So make sure you take it calm, and when they don't understand, or you see they don't understand, explain it again, and try to be diplomatic and calm.
Finding the right location in Kenya. Here I will briefly talk about three main cities in Kenya. First city is Mombasa, as a haven of major offices such as Kenya Seaport, National Hospital Insurance Fund, and Huduma Center, as the most popular tourist destination in Kenya, second largest city in Kenya as well. Then Nairobi is the capital of Kenya, has trade links with Asia, Middle East, and Europe, and according to the World Bank, it's the best city to register property in Kenya. Then we have Kisumu. Kisumu is the third largest city in Kenya, serves as trading and transport hub for the Great Lakes region in the western Kenya. And it's the best city in dealing with construction permits, according to the World Bank again. Then we have sectors to invest in. The economy of Kenya is mainly driven by agriculture because of the exports of tea, coffee, and cut flowers and vegetables. Tourism is also an interesting sector to invest in, because Kenya offers many wildlife parks that house a variety of animal species. The instruction is also interesting, because Kenya is the capital trade center of East Africa. The mining sector is also interesting, because the soil in Kenya has various numbers of resources, such as gold, iron ore, gemstones, and some other very rare minerals.
Our conclusion for Kenya. We believe Kenya has a promising future. There are some buts attached to that, however. We believe it needs to consolidate its politics and create political stability. That's first and foremost. We can't have all those violent elections and violence related to elections. That's really hard to do international business and to create international relations that way. It also needs to fight its corruption. Like my colleague said, the fact that they're paid too little, and that means that everything comes with bribes, is really a problem when it comes to government. And then, according to Lou as well, the government needs to size down. They need to streamline their agencies. They just have too many people in certain agencies that have too little to do. And that's what we believe is the future forward for Kenya, and our opinion on their way of doing things currently. And these were some of our most prominent sources. Thank you for listening. The end. All right.